You know how the Democrats want to claim that Donald Trump is going to be a dictator? Well, newsflash that we all probably know, Joe Biden is more of a dictator than Donald Trump could ever dream of being. Let's go through 10 times, maybe we'll throw in a bonus one there for you, where Joe Biden has behaved as a total dictator. Dictator move number one, the eviction moratorium. Remember when Biden simply ignored property rights and banned landlords from evicting tenants during the pandemic who were allowed to not pay in some jurisdictions for 3 years and maybe still going? Ultimately, the Supreme Court correctly struck it down, but the Biden administration, of course, tried to override them, as well as woke jurisdictions like San Francisco, Los Angeles, where you should not own property. Dictator move number two, the vaccine mandates. In September of 2021, Biden declared the pandemic of the unvaccinated. His executive order required vaccines for all federal workers, contractors, healthcare workers, the military, and all employers with 100 or more employees.
The various shots that people are getting now cover that. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court of the United States thankfully struck it down. But you can see that they decided that they were going to put you at risk with a vaccine that they knew at the time very quickly did not prevent transmission. But they mandated that you take it. They destroyed parts of the military and many lives of people who got myocarditis with no reward and tremendous amount of risk. That's not the bet that you want to take, but the dictator who knows best will make you take it. Dictator move number three, canceling student loans. In true dictator style, Biden ignored a Supreme Court decision and pushed forward with his plans to forgive student loan debt. Just a few weeks ago, he canceled another $5 billion for a grand total of $136 billion. That means that you're a plumber who decided to ply a profession, paid for a 4 or 5 or in some cases 10-year university run of gender studies majors who produce nothing for society. But they preach wokeism, and thus, having been indoctrinated successfully, they want the new crop of kids to come in. They totally invert practicing sound judgment and pervert the incentives that they offer to our society. Dictator move number four, the disinformation governance board. In 2022, Biden named Nina Jankowicz, who called, by the way, the Hunter Biden laptop a Trump campaign product. Oh, yes, but she's going to tell everybody what to believe as his first censorship czar. When the board was later shelved, Washington Post blamed it on right-wing attacks. Oh, those dastardly right-wingers that want to be able to speak freely and have their merit of their ideas heard over the cacophony of the propaganda. How dare they? Dictator move number five, destroying American energy. Biden canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, stopped new oil and natural gas leasing on public lands offshore, and drained our strategic petroleum reserve. The reserve today is at the lowest level since 1984, but at least he allowed Venezuela to resume pumping the oil and help secure the midterms for the Democrats by tapping into our emergency supplies by keeping the price of oil low artificially. Dictator move number six, Biden's massive land grab. The administration's 30 by 30 plan aims to protect at least 30% of our lands and waters by 2030. So far, it has seized, not protected, 1.5 million acres. And you can thank the Center for American Progress and Biden's next climate czar, John Podesta, who, by the way, advised the West Coast states that if Trump were to win, to secede. Well, you can thank him for this plan. However, he will be officially a coordinator, meaning he won't have to go through Congress. What a great way to keep a radical climate change agenda hidden from oversight. Bravo, Dictator-o. Dictator move number 7, naming parents domestic terrorists. In 2021, the National School Board Association asked Biden to classify alleged threats from angry parents as domestic terrorism. But it turns out the NSBA coordinated with the White House and DOJ on the letter. So they planned it because they want to cram critical race theory down the kids' throats. And if the parents object to their kids being taught that they are the oppressors or the oppressed because you don't think it does a lot of good for society, oh hell, think again, domestic terrorists. And they brought AG Merrick Garland in front of Congress, and he said that the DOJ was not using counterterrorism tools to target parents. But then whistleblowers at the Department of Justice and the FBI stated that they were, in fact, investigating parents across the country with a threat tag that was created by FBI's counterterrorism division. Yes, parents objecting to critical race theory, terrorists, like right-wingers, but not the Antifa that burned down all the buildings, the Black Lives Matter rioters. No, not those guys, just people that object to critical race theory. Dictator move number 8, targeting pro-life demonstrators. Last year, Senator Mike Lee questioned Attorney General Merrick Garland about why the Department of Justice was sentencing peaceful pro-life protesters to jail and not pro-abortion attackers. What was Garland's excuse? They just can't seem to track down those pesky left-wingers that plan their attacks at night, because that's what the FBI is for. And by the way, some of these protesters were peacefully singing in an abortion clinic. Yes, they were clogging the hallways a little bit, but people could still get by. They got sentenced to 11 years, some of them, for this action, for trespassing. Meanwhile, a Black Lives Matter rioter in Minneapolis at the start of the Summer of Love decided that it would be a good idea to commit arson against a pawn shop. There was somebody in there. This person died. A murderer. Activists, attorney generals decided that they would petition the justice system to go easy on the gentleman, because he was on the right side of the racial justice protest. In other words, the leftist communist side. Two-tiered justice system. Dictator move number 9, censoring you. The White House has been caught colluding with big tech platforms to censor content on COVID origins, masks, vaccines, lockdowns, good old Hunter Biden's laptop, climate change, mail-in voting, election integrity. However, when a federal district court tried to stop this, the White House claimed that its free speech was being violated, because free speech means censoring people in the leftist agenda, which is why they allow the heckler's veto to shout down people that they disagree with, rather than allowing others to be able to hear them. Same thing there, just rife hypocrisy. Dictator move number 10, forcing transgenderism in schools. During Biden's very first week in office, he signed an order declaring support for boys participating as girls in sports. In 2022, he signed an executive order expanding access to sex change treatments for kids, because nothing says we love you, we appreciate you, like chopping off their dicks and their breasts and chemically castrating them for life. And recent rule changes to Title IX will force school employees to report any improper use of a transgender person's preferred pronouns to Title IX coordinator for that campus, which is exactly why I've decided never to send my kids to college. More policing of speech. If anything sounds constitutional, that would be it. And as a bonus, let's make it number 11. They tried to throw their leading political rival in jail. Just the ultimate in dictator Biden land move. And of course, today, you might have heard Donald Trump was fined $385 million by the state of New York for fraud against banks in terms of the fact that he fully paid back the interest and there was no victim. But that is dictatorship for you. Welcome to the communist state of New York and the increasingly communist United States of America. Biden, more of a dictator than Trump could ever dream of being.